guys, welcome back, and this is part 4. This is going to be the last video in the Zero to First Sale series, and we're picking up about 3 days after part 3 where we started running those 2 ads. And so now you can see we got a sale. I've just now logged into the store for the first time today to check for sales, and we got one around 3:30. And you'll notice that you actually see 2 sales here, but this sale from yesterday was actually just me placing a test order, because yesterday I realized that I hadn't even placed a test order throughout the store yet. So I wanted to confirm that the checkout process and everything was smooth, so yesterday I went ahead and placed the test order. But today we got our first legitimate order. So, if we come over here to orders, you can see that, yes, this was yesterday. This was the test order that I placed. So, anyway, so it took about 3 days to get our first sales. Pretty typical, especially in a brand new store and with your pixel not having any buyer data whatsoever. So, if we head over to Ads Manager, you can see these were the 2 ads that we were running at $8 a day. So, you can see that they were performing about the same. They both got similar clicks. And this one's performing a little bit better than this one, with its cost per website click being about 25 cents cheaper. So overall, you can see we got 35 clicks so far, and out of those 35 clicks, one person went through the checkout process and bought, and a few others went through the checkout process and then abandoned their checkout. And when somebody abandons their checkout, it's not a complete loss, because from there moving forward, you already have their email address, so that's just another email that you can add to your email list, so you can hit them with remarketing later, and you can also hit them with abandoned checkout emails as well. So this is actually going to be a really important video, because I know a lot of people have messed up views when it comes to the type of results they're going to get when they start a brand new store, especially when they've never done it before. And these are very normal, typical results that are going to happen in the beginning. So you can see our total ad spend is about $54, and so far we've only made the $8 back, not counting my test sale from yesterday. And to the surprise of many, these numbers are actually rather typical, because you have to factor in things like the pixel is fresh and has no buyer data, and also the most critical thing is that these ads have only been running for 3 days, so they haven't even had time to fully optimize yet. And I know there's a lot of videos and series, Shopify series on YouTube, where people throw out these astronomical numbers and people act as if the first $50 or the first $100 or even the first $200-300 that you spend on ads is going to come back and give you a significant ROI, and that's simply not true. So that's actually another purpose of this series, and why this video in particular is extremely important, because it's also going to provide you with reasonable expectations to have going into running your first ads and creating your first store. Because the reality is, the first $5, first $10, first $20, $30, even upwards into the first few $100s you spend on advertising is not going to return a positive ROI. Despite the fact that this is a low cost to entry business, and despite the fact that you can profit rather quickly, you still can't profit right away, and you still can't profit without going in the red. So all those video titles that's make money with drop shipping without spending $1, that's not true. And making the process seem a lot easier than it actually is one of the most common marketing tactics within this niche, and a lot of niches when it comes to selling courses and things of the sort. And obviously we too would like if everyone bought our course as well. However, we don't want people entering our course or even viewing our free content on the YouTube channel with just absolutely delusional expectations, because a lot of these videos can give you false expectations, and then what seems to be happening is a lot of people that will start a store and they'll get results similar to this, and instead of like building off of the fact that they just generated a sale, building off of the fact that they have a couple emails already, instead they'll be very discouraged at the fact that they're not immediately profiting, and that that just simply isn't realistic when you're starting an online business. Now, this isn't to take away from the fact that results, extremely profitable and lucrative results, are possible in an extremely short period of time, and these type of results are clearly represented in the 2 case study videos we have on our channel, where myself and another member of Casual E-Commerce started stores around a similar time, and then we recorded the results around 45 days later, and both of us got to the point where those stores were generating a few hundred, if not even $1,000 in sales per day. However, if you pay closer attention to those videos, you'll notice in the beginning weeks of those stores, it was nothing but testing. It was spending $30, $40 every day and pretty much going in the red or breaking even at best every single day in order to test out different products, in order to get as many people buying as possible, just for the fact of getting more buyer data on our pixel, testing out different audiences, pretty much just trying to find the winning formula within that niche. So that's something you have to keep in mind, that sometimes even if you have a good niche, you may go through 10, 15 different products until you find a winning product. And it's most likely going to take you a few $100s to find the right audience and the right product, and to start being able to break even. And you already know that if you watched the video on our channel about how much money do you need to start with Shopify. And in that video, we recommend $1,000, and that's that way you can get through these testing stages and you have the correct expectations going into starting the store, so that way you understand that in the beginning you will go neg, and that's not a bad thing. That's completely normal. So anyway, I know that I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the whole point of that is I know that a lot of people are probably getting similar results to this, where in the beginning you're getting a few sales, you're getting your first sale, however you are technically in the negative, and that is completely normal. And honestly, I'm actually surprised at how quickly we got a sale, considering we got a sale in the first 35 link clicks, which is actually pretty good, because the average conversion rates in e-commerce is usually between 1 and 3%, 3% on the upper end, and you can see conversion rates upwards of 5-8%, but those are more rare and a lot harder to achieve. So 1, 2, 3% is usually the average. So if we have one sale out of 35 clicks, we're already looking at close to a 3% conversion rate, so that's pretty good. And given the fact that our store, to put it simply, just, well, it looks awful and it's a complete skeleton, the fact that we generated a sale already is actually pretty promising in regards to this niche. So with that being said, this is going to be the last video of this series. We're going to wrap this series up, and we have achieved our goal. We have generated our first sale with probably the ugliest store on all of the internet. And obviously the point of this series was not to make a professional looking store, to make and not to go through the entire process as I normally would, or as you should yourself. It was just to give everyone, especially people that are new to e-commerce, the basic idea of how the entire process works, from selecting your niche to creating the store to running ads to getting a sale. So hopefully this series has been helpful in regards to helping you get a feel for the entire process and how it works, and then hopefully this video in particular has helped you put things in perspective regarding the type of results you're going to get when you first start a store. I've seen a lot of people that they start freaking out, and they start like getting discouraged when they say like they've spent $30 and haven't got a sale. And I mean, if your pixel has no buyer data whatsoever and you're in a fresh niche and it's your first store, odds are you're not going to generate a sale with your first $30. Not saying it's not possible, but the thing with e-commerce and running Facebook ads, it all comes down to experimenting and testing, and experimenting and testing takes time and money, which is why on this channel we don't preach any type of, to put it simply, just bullshit like in a lot of other videos saying you don't need any money, or that everything's really easy, or it doesn't take any time at all, because it isn't easy, it does take money, and it does take time. And with that being said, I'm going to keep this store up just so people that watch this series in the future can actually go and view the store, and they can see how the ugliest store on planet Earth actually generated a sale. So with that being said, I hope this series was helpful, and it's helped to give you a better idea of how the e-commerce process works. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I will see you in another video.